All right, if you've ever walked down a street in Scotland, this is for you. We're about to break down exactly what your rights are if you're ever in an accident as a pedestrian. And honestly, some of this might surprise you. So let's get right into it.
So let's just start with a fundamental truth, right? When you're on foot, you are uniquely exposed. And the law in Scotland, it really gets this. It recognizes this vulnerability, and that one single fact is pretty much the foundation for everything we're about to cover.
I mean, just think about it for a second. In a collision, there is literally nothing, no buffer at all, between you and, say, a 2-ton vehicle. It's just you. And that complete lack of protection is why the consequences can be so incredibly severe.
And the results are often devastating. We're not just talking about minor scrapes here. The injuries are frequently life-altering. We're talking traumatic brain and spinal injuries, multiple fractures, and in the most tragic cases, even fatal outcomes. The stakes just couldn't be any higher.
But here's the crucial pivot. This is so important. Despite that obvious physical vulnerability, the law in Scotland actually places pedestrians in what's called a favored position. So what on earth does that actually mean in practice? Well, this is where that favored position really comes into focus. The Highway Code sets up a hierarchy of road users, and you can see who's sitting right there at the top: pedestrians. This isn't just a friendly suggestion, It's a framework that reinforces the legal duty that drivers owe to you. Generally speaking, when a pedestrian makes a claim, it tends to fall into one of two main categories. Understanding which path your situation fits into is really the first step to knowing your rights.
So on one side, you've got the most common type, an accident involving a motor vehicle. Here, the focus is almost always on the driver. But on the other side, you've got slips, trips, and falls that are caused by a dangerous surface, like a badly broken pavement. In that case, the responsibility shifts completely to whoever is supposed to maintain that property, which is very often the local council. So you see, two different causes, two different parties responsible.
Now, this is the big question a lot of people have. What if I was distracted? What if I crossed the road where I shouldn't have? It's a huge worry. Well, the law has a specific way of dealing with this, and it's called contributory negligence. In plain English, all this means is that if your own actions played a part in the accident, your compensation might get reduced by a certain percentage. But, and this is a really big but, the definition of what's reasonable is not a one-size-fits-all thing.
For instance, the law holds adults and children to completely different standards. An adult is expected to have ordinary care for their own safety. But a child? Nope. They're judged by the standard of a child, their own age. The law just gets that kids can be unpredictable, and it puts the responsibility on drivers to anticipate that.
And the courts look even deeper. They're often more sympathetic to elderly pedestrians or people with mobility issues who might just need more time. And think about this one. Even if a pedestrian was distracted by their phone, that doesn't just let a driver off the hook if they saw them and failed to slow down or do something.
Okay, so knowing your rights is one thing, but how do you actually prove your case? And what does compensation even cover? Let's dive into that.
Evidence is absolutely everything. Photos you take right after it happens are vital, of the scene, the vehicle, the broken pavement, whatever caused it. Getting contact details for any witnesses is priceless. Any dash cam or CCTV footage is basically gold dust. And of course, your medical reports are crucial for documenting all of your injuries.
Now, when it comes to compensation, you're going to hear this specific Scottish legal term, solatium. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's simply the part of the money that's awarded to you for the pain, the suffering, and the impact the injury has had on your life.
But solatium is just one piece of the puzzle. A final compensation award is designed to cover the full impact of the accident. That means it includes financial stuff like lost wages, both what you've already lost and what you might lose in the future, plus the cost for any medical treatment or care you're going to need.
Now here's a quick but really important question. You've probably heard about the UK's new fixed whiplash tariff for some road accident claims. So, does that apply to pedestrians?
The answer is a clear, simple, and very firm no. That tariff system is only for people inside a vehicle. Pedestrians are not included, period. Your compensation is worked out based on the real impact of your injuries, not some fixed government tariff.
So, let's bring all this home. Let's make it super practical. If you ever find yourself in this awful situation, what are the first things you should do right there and then?
Okay, here's your immediate checklist. Number 1, and this is the most important, seek medical attention. Your health is the absolute priority. 2, for road accidents, report it to the police. 3,
Try to get the details of any vehicles involved and any witnesses. 4, if you can, photograph everything. And finally, number 5, contact a specialist solicitor as soon as you can to make sure your rights are protected from the very start.
So, if there's just one thing you take away from all of this, let it be this. As a pedestrian in Scotland, the law is fundamentally on your side. Your rights aren't just ideas in a textbook. They are real and they are absolutely meant to be pursued. At the end of the day, knowing what your rights are is the first, most critical step. It's what gives you solid ground to stand on when you are at your most vulnerable. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.